NASCAR just did the unthinkable. They slammed Michael Jordan's race team in court, and now the whole sport might never be the same. This isn't about a bad pit stop or a missed restart. This is about control, power, and a lawsuit that could rip NASCAR's foundation right out from under it. Because on December 1st, 2025, the gloves came off. NASCAR marched into federal court with one clear mission: stop 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports dead in their tracks. And let's be honest, this isn't just any team we're talking about. This is Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin. These aren't rookies, they're titans, and they've had enough. They're accusing NASCAR of running an illegal monopoly, of creating a system where only the insiders win, and everyone else, they're just along for the ride. This fight has been brewing since late 2024, when NASCAR dropped its shiny new charter agreement. Every team had to sign, and most of them did, without question. But not 2311, not Front Row. They slammed on the brakes, they read the fine print, and they said no. They claimed the new terms were garbage, short-term, unfair, built to keep the big dogs fat and happy while starving out the rest. So instead of playing ball, they did something no one expected. They sued NASCAR for antitrust violations in federal court. And now, we're seeing exactly how ugly this is going to get. Because NASCAR isn't just denying the claims, they're swinging back, and they're swinging hard. Early court documents show brutal language, no apologies, no holding back. And then came the bombshell. Internal emails, private messages, the kind of stuff that's not meant to see daylight. Turns out, NASCAR execs were caught calling Richard Childress a Hall of Famer, a dinosaur, an idiot, and a stupid redneck. Yeah, let that sink in. They also made fun of fans for being too dumb to read, mocked Tony Stewart's SRX series like it was a joke, and that's just what we know so far. But don't get it twisted, this isn't a one-sided mess. 2311's got their own skeletons. One of their execs literally said Jim France, the man running NASCAR, had to die before anything would change. Denny Hamlin? He's been vocal for months, dragging the France family every chance he gets. And Jordan? He reportedly joked that he loses more in a casino than he pays one of his drivers. So yeah, this isn't just legal, it's personal, and it's bitter. But underneath all the drama, the question is simple. Who really owns the sport? Because NASCAR's charter system? It was supposed to be the future. A franchise model, a guaranteed starting spot, a slice of the prize money. But there's a catch. The charters aren't permanent. NASCAR can take them back. Just like that. 2311 and Front Row say that's the whole problem. It's a leash. A way to keep teams under control. And if you don't play by NASCAR's rules, good luck surviving. They say NASCAR uses exclusive parts deals. That teams are forced to buy from NASCAR-approved suppliers. No competition, no options, no freedom. And that's just the cars. Tracks are locked down too. The lawsuit claims NASCAR made deals with tracks that stop them from hosting races for any rival series. That's not business. That's a chokehold. But NASCAR's not flinching. They say, look, charters are booming. One sold for $45 million. Media deals are up. Revenue is up 62%. The sport is healthy. Even 2311 and Front Row? They've raced in every single event this season, as open teams. So what's the problem? According to NASCAR, there isn't one. This isn't a monopoly. It's a winning business model. But here's the twist. The court doesn't seem totally convinced. One early ruling said that stock car racing is its own market. That means NASCAR's the only game in town. And that changes everything. Because if NASCAR is the market, then the law looks a whole lot harder at who's making the rules and who's getting left out. And right now, that spotlight is hotter than ever. Inside that courtroom, it's not just lawyers throwing punches. It's the future of NASCAR itself on the line. Because if 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports win this case, everything changes. The France family could be forced to give up control of the sport they've ruled for decades. The charter system could be blown wide open. Permanent rights for teams, open access to parts, and freedom for tracks to host other series, all on the table. And under US antitrust law, if the court finds NASCAR guilty, the financial penalties, they could be tripled. But NASCAR is standing firm. They say they haven't broken any laws. They argue that their business practices are normal, that they've raised payouts in the new deals, that even the teams suing them are still showing up to race. From their view, this isn't a monopoly, it's success. A thriving ecosystem that just isn't meant to please everyone. And to prove it, they're bringing in some heavy hitters. Rick Hendrick, Roger Penske, two of the most powerful team owners in the sport. NASCAR wants them to testify, to speak in support of the current system. But guess what? Even they tried to avoid it. They filed motions to dodge deposition, only agreeing to limited questioning if absolutely necessary. Still, their written statements back NASCAR. They say the system works, that it's not perfect, but it's not broken either. Yet, even the supporters admit the 2025 charter deal didn't meet expectations. So how much loyalty is real, and how much is just survival? Because behind closed doors, the cracks are showing. And NASCAR knows it. That's why they've taken a new step, one that's raised eyebrows across the sport. They've asked the court to block certain plaintiffs from even attending the trial. You heard that right. They want Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin out of the courtroom. Why? Presumably to keep them from swaying the jury. Because let's be honest, Jordan isn't just a name. He's a symbol, a North Carolina icon, a global legend. His presence alone could tip the emotional balance. As of the trial's eve, Judge Kenneth Bell hadn't ruled on that request. But the optics? They're crystal clear. And speaking of optics, Hamlin didn't stay silent. He lit a fire on social media just days before opening arguments, posting, "Our fans have been brainwashed with NASCAR's talking points for decades. Lies are over starting Monday morning. It's time for the truth. It's time for change." That's not just a statement, that's a war cry. He's framing this entire lawsuit as a rebellion, a fight for fairness, for transparency, for a sport that doesn't shut out the outsiders. And he's not alone. Legal analysts say 2311 and Front Row have a real case. A judge already ruled that NASCAR effectively controls its own market. That's huge. It narrows the legal argument right where the plaintiffs want it. Plus, during discovery, documents reportedly showed NASCAR using access to charters and track slots as leverage, leveraging their power to silence dissent, to punish teams who don't fall in line. If that's proven true, that's antitrust violation territory. And the exclusivity deals with tracks, the ones that block other racing series from getting a foothold, yeah, those could be the nail in the coffin. This isn't just about Jordan and Hamlin anymore. This is about the next generation of teams, about whether up-and-comers even have a shot at surviving in NASCAR without selling their soul to the system. And it's not just the garage watching. Sponsors are nervous, track owners are paying attention. Even private equity firms are circling, waiting to scoop up the charters if NASCAR wins and decides to redistribute them. Because if NASCAR does win this battle, the Rebels lose everything. Those 6 charters between 2311 and Front Row, gone. Handed off to someone else. Maybe someone richer. Maybe someone more obedient. But if the plaintiffs win, the doors swing open. Charters become permanent. Tracks gain freedom. Suppliers face real competition. And for the first time in decades, NASCAR's rulebook might not be written by just one family. This trial isn't ending soon. Legal experts say appeals are almost guaranteed. It could drag out for years, all the way to the Supreme Court. But no matter how long it takes, the fuse is lit. This case will decide more than just who races. It will decide how the sport operates, who has a voice, who gets shut out, and who truly owns NASCAR's future. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a legal fight. This is a revolution on 4 wheels.